in the heart of the ancient Teutonic wilderness, where the trees whisper secrets of old, and the fog hangs heavy with forgotten tales, there lies a lair like no other. This land, untouched by time and bathed in the eerie glow of the moonlight, has witnessed countless centuries pass, each leaving its mark upon the very fabric of the earth. The forest, with its towering, ancient trees and thick, tangled undergrowth, is a place of mystery and fear, a place where the line between the natural and the supernatural blurs. The trees themselves are like giants, their gnarled roots twisting and turning as if they are alive, reaching out to ensnare any who dare venture too close. Their branches, heavy with age and draped in thick, mossy beards, stretch skyward, blocking out the sun and casting the forest floor into perpetual twilight. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, a scent that speaks of life and death, of the endless cycle that governs this ancient place. And it is here, in this forgotten corner of the world, that a creature of unimaginable power slumbers. Deep within the shadows of the forest, beneath the roots of trees that have stood for millennia, lies the lair of Fafnir the dragon. Fafnir, who was once a prince of noble lineage, has long since succumbed to his own avarice, transforming into a beast of nightmare. A dragon whose very breath seethes with poison, whose scales are impenetrable, and whose eyes burn with the fires of greed. The story of Fafnir is a tale as old as the forest itself. A story passed down through generations in hushed whispers and fearful glances. It is said that Fafnir was once a prince of great renown, a warrior without equal, whose courage and strength were legendary. But as with many men of great power, his heart was not immune to the corrupting influence of greed. Over time, Fafnir's desire for wealth grew until it consumed him entirely, driving him to forsake his humanity and embrace the curse of the dragon. It was in this cursed form that he ravaged the land, laying waste to villages and hoarding gold and jewels in his lair. For years, Fafnir's lair was untouched, for none dared to challenge the might of the dragon. The villagers spoke of him only in whispers, fearing that even mentioning his name would bring his wrath upon them. But as the years passed and Fafnir's story faded into legend, a new generation arose, one that was curious and unafraid. They had heard the tales of the dragon's hoard, of the unimaginable wealth that lay hidden within the forest, and they were determined to claim it. It was a young warrior named Siegfried who first ventured into the forest, armed with a sword of mythic strength and a heart full of courage. He had been told by the old seers that only one of true valor could defeat the beast and claim its hoard. Siegfried ventured deep into the forest, his every step echoing in the silence, his breath visible in the cold, misty air. The trees seemed to close in around him, their ancient branches twisting above like the fingers of some great unseen hand. But Siegfried pressed on, driven by the tales of the great treasure that lay within the dragon's lair. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he found a cave entrance, hidden beneath the roots of a massive ancient tree. The air here was different, thicker, darker, as if the very shadows were alive. Siegfried hesitated for a moment, then, steeling himself, he entered the cave. The darkness inside was absolute, but Siegfried pressed forward, guided by the faint, eerie glow that emanated from the depths of the cave. As he ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and the silence more oppressive, as if the very cave itself was warning him to turn back. But Siegfried was undeterred. He had come too far to turn back now. Finally, after what felt like hours, he reached the heart of the cave. And there, lying atop a mountain of gold and jewels, was Fafnir. The dragon was massive, its scales glinting in the faint light, its breath filling the air with a noxious, sulfurous stench. Siegfried knew that this was the moment he had been preparing for. Drawing his sword, he stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. Fafnir's eyes snapped open, blazing with a fury that sent shivers down Sigurd's spine. With a deafening roar, the dragon rose, its massive wings unfurling as it prepared to strike. But Siegfried was ready. He had trained for this moment. And with a cry, he charged forward, his sword raised high. The battle was fierce, the clash of steel and scales echoing through the cave as Siegfried and Fafnir fought. But in the end, it was Siegfried who emerged victorious, his sword piercing Fafnir's heart. With a final, earth-shattering roar, the dragon fell, its massive body collapsing onto the hoard it had guarded for so long. Siegfried stood over the fallen beast, his chest heaving with exhaustion, his sword still gripped tightly in his hand. He had done it. He had slain the great dragon, and the hoard was his. But as he looked down at the treasure, a strange feeling came over him, a feeling of unease, of doubt. After slaying Fafnir, Siegfried drank the dragon's blood, unknowingly taking on the curse that came with the treasure. With the blood of the dragon, Siegfried gained the ability to understand the language of birds. The birds warned him of the curse on the treasure. But Siegfried, proud of his newfound power, ignored the warnings. Siegfried's fame spread across the lands, and he became one of the most celebrated heroes of the North. But the curse of the treasure began to take its toll, as betrayal and tragedy slowly crept into his life. Siegfried was betrayed by those he trusted most, and the curse of Fafnir led him to his ultimate downfall. As he lay dying, Siegfried realized that true power came not from treasure or strength, but from wisdom and honor. With his last breath, Siegfried whispered a warning to future generations: beware the curse of greed. The legend of Siegfried lived on, not just as a tale of heroism, but as a cautionary story about the dangers of greed. Though his body was laid to rest, the story of Siegfried continued to be told in the halls of kings and warriors. And so, the tale of Siegfried, the Dragonslayer, became a timeless reminder of the price of greed.